Okay, everybody started. Everyone, please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Please be seated. Guys, get these? Yep.
Present?
Present.
Here.
Here.
Here. Okay. I have one. Let me see your pen, Greg. Let me get a pen. Pen. I have a pen, thanks. I got.
Use a tablet.
What's that?
I was going to say, only pen I have is a tablet pen.
Tablet pen, that's good. All right, so I just have to amend the agenda for 4 items for special consideration.
Sorry.
4 budget moves. I'll present that as a motion to amend the budget. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next up, acceptance of minutes. Town Board regular meeting, May 21st, 2025, 7 p.m. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We got any new employees today?
I know there's one.
Just one? Who?
Oh, a
Oh,
bunch.
you got a bunch of them. Okay, so
Look at
listen.
'em. One
First
at a time.
person come up, just explain what your name is, why you want the job, and what brought you to Fishkill.
And what job you're going to have.
Yes. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Cole Mullen and I'm a junior at John Jay High School. I play 2 varsity sports, baseball and football. I was a camper and played in the rec league, and I also volunteered here the past couple years. I look forward to giving the younger group the positive experience I had, and thank you for the opportunity with this job.
All right, good job, Cole.
Good job.
Hi, my name is Anthony Procaccino, and I'm going into my sophomore year at SUNY Cortland. I graduated from John Jay last year in the class of 2024. I played in the Fishkill Hoops League from 10th grade to 12th grade. I played baseball and football in high school. I am looking forward to working for the recreation program because I am majoring in PE at Cortland, and this job will help me get familiar with working with kids, which is what I will have to do in the future. And I also like to watch basketball. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Well done.
Hi, I'm Mikey Lawler. I'm a sophomore at John Jay where I play basketball and football. And I've been coming here since I was little, and I played basketball here since 4th grade. And I'm excited to work here because I like coaching little kids and like teaching them about basketball. And thank you for having me.
All right.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is, Hi, my name is Savannah Cush. I am in 11th grade. I play volleyball, I'm a part of NHS, and I'm a part of our student council as a treasurer. I worked here over the summer as a camp counselor for the Fishkill Fun Camp, and I'm excited to keep working here as the scorekeeper.
All right.
Welcome.
I mean, can I just say something?
Absolutely.
All you guys came prepared to say things, and we're like very impressive. We get kids up here, nothing against them, and other people, they just don't, they kind of muddle through it. You guys were just like perfect tonight, so very impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are good. You're gonna get hired, so you don't have to stick around.
Yeah. There's no surprises.
All right. Next up is privilege of the floor for general town items. This is the opportunity to speak about anything regarding the town of Fishkill. Mr. Cologne?
Good evening, Eddie Colon from the Town of Fishkill, representing the food pantry and the community. Before we start, I'd like to thank the board for giving the opportunity to these 2 greatest businesses that we are here there to receive a proclamation. ShopRite Supermarket, Mr. Bayardo, manager, and representing Sam's Club, Mr. Christopher Cross, for Pedro Almonte. These 2 businesses are being a peer to our community. they go beyond on that. Whenever we need a food drive, we just got to go to Mr. Bayardo. He says, you got it. Go to Sam's Club, the same. They not only help the food drive, but they're also helping the community, whatever the community needs. And to me, as long as I've been living in Fishkill, this is the first time that these two businesses receive an award. And I look forward for all the businesses that help the community to come and keep helping, because his famous words are, you always got to give back to the community, because that's the big deal out here. So I thank you, members of the board, Mr. Supervisor, I thank you for giving me that opportunity and approving these proclamations. And I know you told me, hey, you should have done this thing a long time ago, but you know me, I don't listen, you know, so, but I'm very proud to be representing them with my coordinator here, Sue Doyle. So thank you very much, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Perry?
Hi, Rob Bucheri, the town historian. Just wanted to mention Supervisor Ozzie and all the support that he's given us. We have a lot of events that are going to come up for the 250th next year. I think Ozzie has been leading the charge on that. I wanted everyone to know that. I also wanted to point out Brian Rye, who spent some time with me on Saturday looking for possible event venues. So we are planning a lot of things, and I know that we have support on this board, and I just wanted to thank you, and especially Ozzie and Brian, and hopefully, you know, we'll have more of you guys come out, and it's been great so far, so thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Oh, go on.
One more.
Hi, Keith Riley, Friends of the Fishkill Supply Depot. Yeah, so I believe you're going to be looking at the recognizing the cemetery that our organization believes has Continental soldiers buried there. Is that correct? That I'm just trying to. Will on the agenda there be a discussion of the burial grounds about recognizing?
I will be doing a presentation about the Daughters of American Revolutionary War burial ground marker that was at the intersection of Route 9 and Van Wyck Lake Road in about 5-6 minutes.
Okay.
And then you can decide. I'm trying to get public support in the town board to move forward after I make my presentation.
Okay. Should I have comments about it? Should I wait until after your presentation?
You'll have an opportunity to speak at
During
the
privilege of the floor
privilege of
for
the
agenda
floor.
items.
So probably around it's a light agenda, so no later than 8 o'clock you'll be able to speak.
Okay, I think that's probably a better time. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Joanne Dyroff, resident of Fishkill and the Park Condominiums on Loudon Drive. I was here last fall to talk about how the Homeowners Association in my complex was seeking to get a permit to slaughter geese on our property. That hasn't happened, I just wanted to tell you. However, they've decided to use a different methodology to reduce the geese population, and what they're doing is instead of rounding up the adults and gassing them, they are killing the babies in the eggs. And this is called addling. It's actually legal. And what it is about 2 weeks after the goose eggs are laid, they germinate for about a month. Somebody, a volunteer or somebody that you hire, pours corn oil over the eggs. So, somehow they get the female off the eggs, and they do this. What happens is the fetuses suffocate. So they're still killing geese. I just wanted the board to know, the town of Fishkill, and park residents to know that they're still killing the geese in a different manner, when there are other things that are totally humane, no death involved, habitat modification. The Humane Society of the United States and other groups will come in and help us do this, but they refuse to entertain that. So I just wanted to give an update that They got away from slaughtering the adults, but now they're killing the fetuses. So,
Sorry to hear that, ma'am.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for letting us know. Okay, anybody else like to speak? All right, let's see here. We got liaison member reports. Jackie, you have anything?
Not tonight.
Greg?
I do. For starters, I'd like to give a big round of applause to everyone who was involved in the town and the village's Memorial Day observances last week. There is no more important a civil observance than to honor the men and women who have died to ensure the freedom that we currently have. Memorial Day comes at the end of Military Appreciation Month. It's a month that probably doesn't get as much publicity as it deserves because of an event like Memorial Day at the end of it. But in keeping with that, I wanted to give a little bit of an update from the Capitol because the state legislature has adopted some provisions which I think the public would do well to know about regarding not only honoring veterans but taking action to assist them. Now, these have been adopted by the state legislature but are not yet applicable law. They still need to be signed into law by the governor. So hopefully by this time next year they will actually be law in the state of New York. But in the meantime, I did want to let everyone know that a package of 5 bills cleared the state Senate last week. The first 2 are related. It is property tax relief for active duty service members. It will allow towns and cities to offer property tax exemptions for active military members who are serving in combat zones. It's something which I will sponsor at the town level. Should this become law, I would very much like to see that. And the second is like it, tax exemptions for disabled veterans. It grants full property tax exemptions on primary homes for veterans who have 100% disability status related to their military service. Again, that's something I would very much like to advance at this town board if these become provisions that we're able to act on. Another is something I would like to see the town make a purchase of. The Senate has adopted an Honor and Remember flag as New York's official symbol to commemorate service members who died defending the nation. It is a specific flag designed with certain memorial aspects to it. You can Google it. It is New York's Honor and Remember flag. I know there are pictures of it that you can take a look at, and I think it would be something the town might be interested in purchasing to go in our War Veterans Memorial Park or perhaps over at Camp Foster. Secondly, there is a education benefit amendment, meaning that veterans who have certain unused tuition awards through the GI Bill and through other service benefits are now able to transfer their unused tuition awards to spouses or children. This is all a part of New York's intention to make higher education accessible to more people. So if you are a spouse or a child of a veteran who has unused tuition awards, you may soon be able to receive those awards from them and use those to advance your education. And lastly, it's appropriate since June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. The State Senate last week designated September 22nd as a statewide day to raise awareness specifically about veterans' mental health. It will be known as Veterans Suicide Awareness Day. It is something that I think we all know is far too much of a problem. We are losing far too many service members long after their service comes to an end to the battle with the mental scars that come with serving our country. A reminder that their service doesn't necessarily stop and their sacrifice doesn't necessarily end when they hang up the uniform. Last week, the day after Memorial Day, the State Senate also hosted its annual Veterans Hall of Fame event. It is a wonderful thing the State Senate has done for more than 20 years. Senators from each district are able to nominate a veteran from within their district to come to Albany for a ceremony and to be inducted into that year's class. Of course, my day job has me working down in Westchester, and we honored a 91-year-old Korean War veteran who earned 3 Bronze Stars and whose helmet is currently on display at the West Point Museum. He was wounded in the Battle of Pork Chop Hill, but I did just want to highlight Aaron Leonard. He was Senator Rob Rollison's, our state senator here in Fishkill. He was Senator Rollison's inductee into the Veterans Hall of Fame. Just wanted to recognize Lieutenant Colonel, Army Lieutenant Colonel Aaron Leonard. He retired in 2014 after more than 27 years in service. Aware of the challenges many veterans face in transitioning from the military to a healthy and purposeful civilian life, in keeping with what we just mentioned. Mr. Leonard developed and led therapeutic outdoor adventure programs for veterans. knowing from personal experience that time outdoors can really help. He was focused on supporting the health and well-being of military service members, veterans, and first responders. So we salute you here in Fishkill. We thank you for your service, Mr. Leonard, on behalf of everyone here in our district, as well as all of the veterans who were inducted into the New York State Senate Veterans Hall of Fame. If you want to learn more, you can, again, search that. It's a beautiful page on the New York State Senate website. That is all I have.
Thank you, Greg. John?
Thanks.
Huzzah.
There was a little event called the Senior Picnic today, John. You went to that.
I did.
So that's a report. Listen, I was at a meeting this week and at the Mid-Hudson Regional Empire State Development on economic development, which was held at the Renegade Stadium in the new clubhouse. It was just, since it was right here in Fishkill, I felt I needed to attend. I was glad to be there and listen in on what the state is doing around the county. I didn't catch anything for Fishkill, not much for Dutchess, but hey, we can only hope. I attended a Slater Chemical Friendship Night. I'd never heard of the fire districts having friendship nights, and they said, we're having a friendship night, and won't you come? And so I did. It was last week, and all fire districts, they do this once in a while. Each fire district will host. So I went, and that was good to be around our fire districts and our volunteer fire department. Which, not to steal any thunder of yours, Greg, but I wish you'd tell your boss that volunteer firemen need major tax benefits also, like veterans, because we're losing our volunteer firemen. So we got.
I really would if I could, Brian,
I know.
But as an elected official, I can't actually have conversations about prospective legislation with my boss.
And I know that. I'm just saying that. Get a meeting for me and Ozzy. We'll go.
We'll go.
Okay.
And I'm very serious.
Session's ending. We'll see if we can get you on the calendar.
All right, good. You want to do that, Ozzy? I know you would.
What's that? I'll go.
Yeah. Memorial ceremony. Yes, we had a great one at Town Hall. Virgil Capillari, who is the chair of our Town of Fishkill veterans, did a great, made some great remarks. It was a very, very, very great ceremony. I have to say, I'm very proud of our veterans here in the town, and I enjoyed that very much. And then, of course, we all went to the village for their parade, and I marched with the Fishkill Historical Society, and other people were there, and that was always a very, very good thing to do. And lastly, and if you'll allow me just a couple of minutes, Supervisor, I attended the funeral for Staff Sergeant Derrigan. And I don't know how many people know about this, but I have some information on Staff Sergeant Derrigan, and you're probably thinking, who is that? Well, give me a minute and I'll educate you. Staff Sergeant Eugene Derrigan, a native of Wappinger Falls, New York, served as a radio operator in the U.S. Army Air Force's World War II. At the age of 26, he was assigned to the 320th Bombardment Squadron, 90th Bombardment Group, 5th Air Force on March 11, 1944. He was aboard a B-24D Liberator bomber named Heaven Can Wait, of all things, which embarked on a mission targeting Japanese positions near Hansa Bay in the northern coast of the New Guinea. During the mission, the aircraft was struck by enemy anti-aircraft fire, igniting the bomb bay and causing the plane to pitch violently before crashing into the sea. All 11 crew members were declared dead killed in action, and the remains were initially deemed unrecoverable. Decades later, a concerted effort led by the family members and researchers culminated in the discovery of the crash site in 2017, and by Project Recovery. You got to look into this organization. This is what they do, is look for these sites. A nonprofit organization dedicated to locating and repatriating missing American service members. So in 2023, the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency conducted a deep-sea recovery mission, retrieving artifacts and remains from the wreckage. Through dental, anthropological, and DNA analysis, Staff Sergeant Derrigan's remains were positively identified on September 20, 2024. On May 24, 2025, more than 80 years after his death, Staff Sergeant Derrigan was laid to rest with full military honors in his hometown of Wappinger Falls. The ceremony was attended by over 200 community members, family, and fellow citizens paying tribute to his service and sacrifice. I had to read that because, you know, in keeping with our comments in the Memorial Weekend, what a story and what a beautiful thing to have happened. He was finally brought home, and I was proud to be there. And that's it. That was for Derrigan, not me.
That was for Darrington, but Mr. Rye, also, his family's also sacrificed in defense of this nation. His father was a combat pilot in Korea and Vietnam and was shot down and killed.
Reconnaissance.
And anybody that knows the movies Top Gun, his father was one of those type of pilots. So Brian, thank you for your service to the country, to your family. Okay, now we have two proclamations we're going to go on. John, you read the first one, you read the second one, and we'll come together, take separate pictures, and we'll recognize our fine residents of the town of Fishkill at once.
Okay, proclamation recognizing ShopRite of Fishkill for generosity to the community. Whereas ShopRite has more than 300 grocery stores in New York and the Mid-Atlantic region, including a store in Fishkill. And whereas ShopRite believes in helping those in need throughout our community and assisting in feeding the hungry. And whereas the Fishkill Food Pantry was founded to provide nutritional necessities to the families in Fishkill and neighboring towns. And whereas since 2023, ShopRite of Fishkill has donated more than 71,000 pounds of food.
Wow.
And whereas ShopRite of Fishkill additionally makes a yearly monetary donation to supplement the Fishkill Food Pantry. And whereas ShopRite manager Bayardo Villegas and the entire ShopRite of Fishkill team continue to support Fishkill Food Pantry by hosting food drives throughout the year to help ensure the shelves stay fully stocked for those in need. And whereas the town board desires to recognize those individuals and organizations which will go above and beyond to make a difference in the community. Now therefore be it resolved to the town board of the town of Fishkill does hereby proclaim its recognition and gratitude to ShopRite of Fishkill and store manager Bayardo Villegas for their generosity and dedication to their community as demonstrated by the efforts they put forth throughout the year in assisting the Fishkill Food Pantry and those in need throughout our community. And further resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill shall present a copy of this proclamation of ShopRite of Fishkill and store manager Bayardo Villegas at the Fishkill Town Board meeting on June 4, 2025, by order of the town board of the town of Fishkill on this 4th day of June, 2025.
He's ready. You.
Likewise, a proclamation recognizing Sam's Club of Fishkill for generosity to the community. Whereas Sam's Club of Fishkill has been operating since August of 1993 and has been helping with community events since that time. And whereas Sam's Club of Fishkill believes in helping those in need throughout our community and assisting in feeding the hungry. And whereas the Fishkill Food Pantry was founded to provide nutritional necessities to the families in Fishkill and neighboring towns. And whereas Sam's Club of Fishkill supports the Fishkill Food Pantry by hosting food drives throughout the year to guarantee that the shelves stay stocked. And whereas Sam's Club of Fishkill has participated and supported many local community events, such as Community Day of Service, Toys for Tots, St. Mary's School 5K Run, Fishkill Elementary Halloween Parade, Fishkill Rotary Coat Drive, among many others. And whereas Sam's Club manager Pedro Almonte and the entire Sam's Club of Fishkill team continue to support Fishkill Food Pantry by hosting food drives throughout the year to help ensure the shelves stay fully stocked for those in need and support many local community events and fundraisers. And whereas the town board desires to recognize those individuals and organizations which go above and beyond to make a difference in the community, now therefore be it resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill does hereby proclaim its recognition and gratitude to Sam's Club of Fishkill and store manager Pedro Almonte for their generosity and dedication to their community as demonstrated by the efforts they put forth throughout the year in assisting the Fishkill Food Pantry and those in need in our community. And be it further resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Fishkill shall present a copy of this proclamation to Sam's Club of Fishkill and store manager Pedro Almonte at the Fishkill Town Board meeting on June 4th, 2025, by order of the Town Board of the Town of Fishkill on this, the 4th day of June, 2025.
So why don't you come, bring your family up, we'll do his family, we'll do second. So let's get, who's with you? Who's here with you? My son, Junior, and my son, Jonathan, Marianne. Come on, guys, everybody with him, come on up. Yeah, sure.
Stand in the back.
Family first.
Family first. Family first. Good. Family friends, whoever's with him, come on up. You gotta get in there too. I'm going with them.
Yay! Shop right!
Shop right.
Right. Okay, thank you.
So just hang out to the side, we'll take.
Sam's Club representative. Yes.
This is Christopher from Sam's Club. He's representing Mr. Almonte. Not by himself. Yeah. Thank you. Board members, all of us on this one. Thank you. I'll take a picture. Okay. I'll show you what I said. That's good. All right, we'll do the pictures out. You want to take pictures?
With, yeah. Want to get everybody in together, your community partners?
Get everybody.
Stay right here. Sure. Look at the kids. They're hilarious. Good? Yeah, congratulations. Big members. Yeah, man. I didn't know that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And now you guys are famous.
It's nice to be in a room temperature room.
It's not a bad
My office is on the fifth floor of the War Building, and the air conditioning is more of a suggestion than a real thing. I mean, it's on. It doesn't actually condition the air. It more conditions us to accept that it's hot.
Well, I tell you, the way to do it is early in the morning, you will before the windows.
Okay.
Let it go down to whatever degrees it is. Close all the windows before it gets hot. Keep the shades closed on the sunny
That's
side
what I
of
do
the
on my
house.
house, but I'm talking about in my office.
Shades? Any shades in your office?
I actually have a portable air conditioner for my little.
big
I
use of
have a one-person office. It's essentially a very large broom cupboard, but it's 8 by 10 at most, you know. But I put this portable AC unit in there, and it takes the sting out of it, but it's still 75, 80 degrees in there.
Guys, let's meet adjourned.
I'm being advised that our mics have been hot this entire time, so for everyone listening at home, Councilwoman Bardini with some excellent advice on keeping the home cool during the summertime.
And saving on your power bill.
And saving on the power bill, yes. Natural air conditioning is always cheaper than the electronic sort.
We'll keep
Just tell us your name, who you are, what you're here for.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Supervisor. Thank you for inviting me here today to speak to the board members. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Carlos Perez. I am a financial advisor for the last 20 years with Aspire Financial. I'm based out of Poughkeepsie. My office is up at the Poughkeepsie Journal building, but I'm also a resident of East Fishkill. And why I'm here to talk to you today is about an existing benefit that you already have, but a little part of it that most of you don't know. So I just wanted to ask you really quick, is everyone or anyone here familiar with or partaking in the New York State Deferred Compensation Plan, the 457? Okay, so we have a couple. In that plan, you know, it's pre-tax or potentially Roth savings that you're doing for yourself for your retirement. Money comes out of your paycheck, gets invested in certain investment options. Were you aware of a little-known provision inside of that plan that's called the self-directed brokerage account option, which basically means that you can take up to 50% of your retirement savings in that plan and invest it in anything that you wanted. So nobody knows. It's a provision that is in this particular deferred compensation plan, New York State's plan. Some states have it, New York being one of them, that allows you to partake in it. However, it's not something that's advertised. And that's why I wanted to come. I had met with Supervisor Albra with regards to how I might be able to explain this to the employees of the municipality. And because every municipality is a little different. Some municipalities, they let you go, or they have you set up a meeting with the police chief and, you know, different department heads. Other municipalities, such as yourselves, want me to go to the board, and then they set up the way to access the employees. The reason why this is important is because, and why am I here, okay? Because obviously, as an advisor, I'm here to educate the employees, and potentially, and this is where I come in, there's the opportunity to allow a professional to help manage some of those assets inside of that 457 plan. They don't have to. It's something I just wanted to show you real quick. I brought my iPad just to show you, and I brought some kits to pass out to everyone. But if you were to go, and I know it might be a little difficult to see, but this is the New York State Deferred Compensation website. And if you were to go to Forms and Resources, and then you went to Forms and Publications, okay, it still has the enrollment form to enroll in the plan and all that other stuff. You have to now scroll to the bottom, and where it says Other, click on Other, and when you see Other, you'll see the Self-Directed Investment Account Handbook as a PDF, and there's your kit. It makes it very difficult for someone to find it, much less know what it's all about. I took the liberty of printing some of this handbook so that you can have it and take a look at it. What it is ideally it's for the individual to know that they can invest in. What happens is New York State's plan is managed by Nationwide, and Nationwide has a little provision where they allow you to place some of that money, up to 50% of it, in a Charles Schwab account. My company, myself, I've been credentialed and worked with a platform that is able to work with Charles Schwab now in this plan so that we can help guide those assets. You don't need me. You can do it yourself. Someone might turn around and say, I want to invest all of it in Tesla, I want to invest all of it in Home Depot, whatever it is. Whatever you want to do with it, it's on you. But one of the reasons why they don't advertise it is because they have no liability on what you choose to invest in that particular platform. I am a fiduciary. I am able to go ahead and help guide you through that process. So for that reason, I wanted to bring this to your attention to show you that there's a whole world out there in your retirement plan that you may not be aware of, and obviously not. How I came about this, again, I've been an advisor for almost 20 years now. I'm actually in my 20th year, and I have many clients that are municipal workers, and in working with them and helping them allocate their deferred compensation plan, we came across this option several years ago. And then, so we started working with them on this, and that's when I became aware of how I could be credentialed to actually work through the Charles Schwab platform with the deferred compensation plan. Since then, I've been working with many cops down in Long Island, Suffolk County, Nassau County, I work with many cops and individuals in the court systems down in Westchester, and that's kind of, I'm born and raised down in Long Island. I'm a transplant up here, so that's where most of the people that I know are down there, right? But I live local here. I want to be able to serve the people that I work with and live with up here. So that's why I wanted to see, I went to East Fishkill, for instance. I went to the police department. I live right around the corner from the police department there. And I spoke to the gatekeeper there, and she said, you're not allowed to come in here unless you talk to the comptroller. So that's when I realized, oh, no soliciting in all municipalities, so let me go speak to the comptroller down at East Fishkill, and then that's when I started going to the different municipalities where I requested a meeting with the supervisor, and he said, in this municipality, it's best to go to the board. So why I'm here again, I just wanted to seek permission or to find out how it is that I might go about to help you educate your employees. This is strictly optional. No one has to participate in this, and there's many people that aren't even participating in the deferred compensation plan at all, and this might just be an educational opportunity to get them to start investing for themselves. It's, you know, I do a lot of, granted I'm an advisor, I get paid for what I do, but I do a lot of free work too. You know, I believe in karma. There's a lot to be said about pro bono work when you help someone get started and later on they're a millionaire and it's because of you. You know, it's just one of those things. So I'd like to seek permission to see how I might be able to access the employees of the town of Fishkill, however you see fit, to be able to present to them this option. In this kit, as I mentioned, I have a printout of the handbook.
Okay.
I also have a sample email that I've used to send out to other individuals at other municipalities, and a sample one-page flyer that I also have handed out in the past. Of course, everything is subject to your approval. I could tweak whatever it is. It's all, you know, I have it all in my system. If that's something that you wanted to use, otherwise you tell me, no way, get out of here. Whatever it is that you wanted me to do, I will go ahead and use. But these are just samples that have been used. My card is in here too with my contact information. And I do apologize, I have 6 kits here. I do not have, Mr. Supervisor, I believe I left you one, but I could bring you another one tomorrow morning.
Okay.
If it's okay with you, I'll bring you by another kit tomorrow morning. And I'll leave everyone here, I still have, and one more, I can bring
Make sure
one
the
more.
town clerk gets one. No, give it to the councilwoman, councilman.
Ozzy likes extra ketchup.
Yes. And give one
She's
to
our
the
town
clerk.
attorney, I don't know that she wants one.
You don't want one?
I mean, I'll take one.
Well,
Do you need
the
one?
question is, if we wanted to use his services, how would we do that?
Well,
I think that would be something that
We
if
could
the board of, sure.
maybe we could talk about it, you know.
You want to put it up for discussion at the next meeting?
Could I add something real quick?
I want to go into exec about it.
Could I just add something real quick? I'm sorry, I should have mentioned. For me to do this, of course, I'm seeking your approval to be able to solicit the individuals. But in terms of liabilities and whatnot, there is zero liability on the municipality's part, because this is a benefit that's already provided by New York State, and this is an individual option that the individual has to, you know, whether or not they want to use help on their plan. So there's no legal liabilities on part of the town of Fishkill with regards to the usage, whether someone wants to do it themselves or seek help. I just wanted to throw that out there because I know that's always a question.
So, like you said, this is already available.
Yeah.
So if an employee wants to do this, they can go on the website and do what they want to do. What you're trying to do is try and get in front of the PBA or the highway department, groups of people, so you can put on a little presentation.
Whatever's easiest. So individuals, groups, whatever it is that you want to put together is fine. Typically, what a lot of people have started is they'll do a group, and then that usually morphs into meeting with individuals because so-and-so at the group told so-and-so and whatnot. So usually that's the start. I know up in Hyde Park, I have a meeting with them this coming Friday with the police chief. I met with their comptroller, and they set up a meeting with their police chief that I'm meeting with this Friday to discuss when and how I'll be approaching the cops. So like I said, every municipality is a little different in how they want to do it. But with regards to the liability on your part, there is none. The liability is on the individual because it's their option.
This is already available to anyone.
It's already available.
understand it.
So Ms. Wilson, do we have to do a town board resolution to allow him, let's say we pick June 20th, to have him be here and have the employees come here and speak to him? Can we do something as simple as that?
If it's going to be a public meeting, then you would have
Not,
to comply.
I'm not going to be here. It'd be up to the
No
employees.
council members?
Well, it'd be up to them
I
if
don't
it's
want
more
to
than
be.
two.
To
Okay.
be honest with you, no offense, but I feel this is steering towards somebody for business, and I just feel very
Yeah.
uncomfortable with it.
I
And
agree with Brian.
and I have to pull away from, I'm not interested.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I certainly appreciate you coming to make sure that people are aware that these options exist, and I think it's certainly fair that we could request the type of information you've provided, but I'm not entirely sure that we should be facilitating a meeting from a standpoint of getting our municipal employees with a private enterprise that's seeking to solicit their business. I think that would appear that the board is endorsing a particular business, and that's really not for us to do. I think, perhaps we would do well to perhaps work with the town attorney to issue some sort of memo to staff to make sure that they're aware that this benefit exists and that there are resources available that they can use to learn more about it, et cetera. And if they were to choose to approach you or to reach out to ask you for more information, that would certainly be within their rights, but this board facilitating that type of a meeting or a presentation or a pitch, if you will, would essentially be us advertising for you. And I think we need to draw a line for that, personally.
Okay.
Nothing personal, Carlos.
No.
No, I understand. And
I appreciate you coming here and explaining this, because I had never heard of this before. I'm sure that's the
no
case
one ever
for-
has, exactly.
Precisely. So we appreciate you doing that.
And see the other issue I respect your decision. That's fine. I certainly was not asking for, because I know that the municipality cannot endorse me. I totally was not asking for that. I just know that just by law and numbers, just by your reaction here, and just from knowing other financial advisors, no one knows how to work on this platform either. So,
Right.
So that's why I wanted to
Ms.
see how
Wilson,
it could go.
do we do something where we notify the employees that they have the option to do deferred comp, and then there's a second option, and they'll list a bunch of the brokers that can do that? Is that proper? Like, he wouldn't be the only one on there, there'd be whatever we can get on there. Would that be acceptable?
You could also take the information and make it available to employees if they want it, if that's something that there is a way through the clerk's office so that employees can access the information. I agree that the board doesn't want to be in a position where it's facilitating arrangements to discuss financial investing, because if you do it for this gentleman, you're
Right.
going to do it for every gentleman and gentlewoman who is in that line of work, and you don't want to err on the side of
Understood, ma'am.
yes, an endorsement.
Partiality.
But you could take the information and make it available, circulate an email.
But we
to
can't
the
mention his firm
employees.
though, right? We don't
Excuse
mention his
me?
firm, right? That's where the gray area for me is. That's why I said him, if you're interested in doing it on your own for that 50%, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places
Yes,
that.
you could do that. You could get a list together, and you could put out a call, if you will, for brokers, if there are people interested, similar to, if there's a list of plumbers or electricians, then some municipalities require those lists with financial investors. It's a bit touchy because it's such a personal decision and not something that really falls under the municipality's jurisdiction, or your jurisdiction for that matter. It's investing, and they all, if they're part of the program, they would have access to that information through the program.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Perez, for coming.
Okay.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it.
Okay. So Cooper, let's get the presentation about the, thank you for coming, sir. Daughters of the American Revolutionary War burial marker placed in 1897. Let me know when you got that up.
Good, well, go for it, man.
It's good? You got it? All right. So I'm going to walk around and closer to them because I can't see that far away. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ozzie Albert. I'm the supervisor of the Town of Fishkill.
Throughout the years, there's been much discussion about the location of a Revolutionary War burial ground in the town of Fishkill. I am making a presentation tonight to the town board in the hope to reaffirm where the site is so we can preserve it for future generations. Let me begin. In 1897, the town board of the town of Fishkill passed a resolution allowing the Daughters of the American Revolution to place a monument in remembrance of a Revolutionary War dead. Go to 1. To date, that's a still active resolution. I am unaware that that has been repealed. So in 1897, the town board of the town of Fishkill voted for this resolution. Myself and the town clerk, Becky Tompkins, went through the records, and we found the old log books, and we found the actual handwritten scripture, and we certified that a little while ago. Further, the property owner, Albert Knapp, gave permission for the stone to be located on the adjacent property. At this time, I would like to read some excerpts from the DAR, Daughters of the American Revolution scrapbook, dedicating the event, which I have placed on the town website. General Butterfield, the Medal of Honor recipient, was there with over 2,000 residents for this special ceremony. So, Cooper, that is the monument that they placed in 1897. Go to the next picture. There's the postmark in 1905, so that's an accurate picture between 1897 and 1905. Here's one of the excerpts from page 18. So the scrapbook contained news stories of the event from 1897. And I'm going to read this, and you'll understand where I'm going with that. But no longer may historians rebuke us, for through the courtesy of Mr. Albert Knapp, who was the property owner, the owner of the land, and the highway commissioner in the town of Fishkill, and permitting the placing of the stone on this spot through the great kindness of our friends in aiding us financially and helped by the sympathy of the whole community, we now, as members of the Melzinga chapter DAR, lift this flag from this memorial stone, which this day consecrate in grateful remembrance to those brave men who gave their lives for their country, and their bodies repose in the adjoining field. Next one. This is a very special monument. The monument is of a dark Quincy granite, and the Quincy granite, it was mined in Massachusetts, in the eastern part of Massachusetts, and there's very little of it left, and it's a very highly revealed stone. So let me finish reading it. The monument is of a dark Quincy granite, 4 feet high and 2 feet wide. This standing on a single base, 1.5 feet thick. The front of the stone is polished. The monument stands on a terrace 2 feet high and built of heavy masonry filled with the earth and sodded. Across the top of the stone are 13 raised stars, emblematic of the original states. Following is the inscription of the face of the stone fronting the highway. 1776 to 1783, in grateful remembrance of the brave men who gave their lives for the country during the American Revolution and whose remains repose in the adjoining field, the stone is erected by the Melzinga chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution, October 14th, 1897. On page 20 of the scrapbook, it was in November of 1895 that 12 ladies of the village assembled together for the purpose of forming a society of the Daughters of the American Revolution. The society was named Melzinga Chapter, and these 12 ladies were charter members. Yesterday, the members of the society unveiled the handsome monument on the old Cold Spring Road, which is Albany Post Road, Route 9, to mark the spot where hundreds of brave soldiers who fought for their country's liberty lie buried. It was a patriotic deed by patriotic women. I mention that because at the time period, the women kind of needled the men in Fishkill, that the men couldn't get the job done that the women got done. So if it wasn't for the women of the town of Fishkill, this stone would have never been erected. That's right. Next. The subject of the monument was first broached by the church centennial in 1883, but it was not until the women descendants took over the matter in charge that anything was done. Ms. Verplank briefly reviewed the work, the chapter, and unveiled the monument. Her address was won, and the vast assembly grasped every word eagerly. Next. This is, when you read the books, this is kind of how the site looked in 1897. When I read the future excerpts in the history books, I just want everybody to focus on the black walnut trees to the left. Toward the end, you might see a stagecoach. To the left of that would be where the marker is. You just can't see it. You can see it in the other picture, but you can't see it here. Next picture. So the history of Dutchess County, New York, edited by Frank Hasbrook, was published in 1909. Shows the mentions the site of the dedication. So we'll go on page 325. About 2 miles south of the village on the Old Post Road is a monument erected October 14th, 1897 by the Melzinga chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution to mark the spot where buried the soldiers who died in large numbers of disease while in camp here during the Revolution. The tablet on the monument reads as follows. Engraved for, okay, that's good. Go to the next one. The next book, Dutchess County, the American Guide series. This book was published during the Great Depression, where FDR kept the writers busy with work, and this is the result of Dutchess County. Go to the next page. So we have here on page 140, at 1.3, near the base of the mountain, a gray granite marker by the roadside commemorates a soldier's burial ground. Many of the unrecorded dead were state militiamen. Few cemeteries in the state have as many graves as revolutionary soldiers are found in this long, unnoticed spot. Next one. Here in the history of Dutchess County, New York, in 1882, the following was said. Next page.
And Supervisor, this is before the DAR monument.
This one is before the DAR monument. Yep. So this one will say the barracks on page 139. The barracks extended along the road a half-mile south of the village, in close proximity to the house near the residence by the large black walnut trees, which you saw in the picture. Mr. Bickerhoff before quoted, and east of the road. So if you're going up north on 9 and McDonald's on your left, this is east. East of the road, near the base of the mountains, was the soldiers' burial ground. This almost unknown and unnoticed burial ground holds not only a few, but hundreds of those who gave their lives for the cause of American independence. Some 15 years ago, about 1861, an old lady who was then living in the advanced age and who had lived near the village until after she had grown to womanhood, told the writer that after the Battle of White Plains, she went with her father through the streets of Fishkill, and in places between the Dutch and Episcopal churches, the dead were piled up as carved wood. So Fishkill residents, as you go up Route 9 and 52 between the two churches, and during the Revolutionary War, these soldiers were just piled in the middle of the road because it was too cold to bury them. The wounded, okay, next page, sorry, go on to the next one. The next book, 1874 Barnum, American Guide series, next page. He also mentions near the base of the mountain, the gray granite marker by the roadside commemorates a soldier's burial ground. Many unrecorded dead were state militiamen. Next one. Next. What was unique is Dutchess County has a historical society that formed in the early 1900s. And what they do is they go through the history of Dutchess County. They do pilgrimages throughout the history of Dutchess County, and they create yearbooks, and they continue to do it today. So go to the next page. So on page 19, and what's important about this one, this is the only source I found where it mentions a brook, the burial ground. Beyond the brook, to the south, is the burial ground of the American Army. One authority states that there were more soldiers buried here than in any other spot in New York State. While stationed here, the Army was sorely affected in times, even smallpox being added to their woes. This ground is truly hallowed ground. By the roadside stands a monument erected by the Daughters of the American Revolution, calling attention to the fact that the adjacent field here lie the bones of those who freely gave their lives in the advance of their country. Next page. In 1971, I was able to find this aerial shot of the intersection of Route 9 and Van Wyck Lake Road. You see a big Greyhound bus. To the top of that, you can see some excavation, probably where the area of the McDonald's is. And then to the south of the bus, you can see a little box right here. You can see that, right? And there's a stone in the middle. The next picture, Cooper.
There it is.
You can clearly see the Revolutionary Memorial on that site. Sometime between 1971, sometime in the 1970s, they moved the stone and they moved it to the Van Wyck House in order to protect it when they were widening in Route 9. And fortunately, when you look at the maps going back over 100 years, you'll be able to see that they widened Route 9 going to the west where the bus is, and they left that corner where the burial marker is intact. So I'm very confident that those graves have not been disturbed. There's very good news. Let's go next. So around the early 2000s, there was a survey done on the site which identified human remains, quite a few of them. Go to the next page.
When was that?
What's the date? I think 2007 or 2008. Go back, let Mr. Rice see that. So I think that was done in 2007. 2007?
gave you guys
Okay.
copies of that.
Okay. So the site was surveyed, they did find graves. The media, the Poughkeepsie Journal on April 29th, 2009 reported on that. The Fishkill land confirmed to be Revolutionary War gravesite. Next page, another local news site, the Southern Dutchess News, June 2nd, 2009. Remains of nation's first veterans found in Fishkill. Go to the next page. Now, fortunately for us, the property owner did have a high respect for our war dead. And if it wasn't for him, this site would probably be in shambles. So you would say from, let's say 1975 to about 2005, a 40-year period, it went unnoticed and forgotten. So the gentleman did the right thing. He cleaned it up, and he was proud on his own social media, stated that he preserved a Revolutionary War burial ground. Next page. He even put up a monument recognizing our soldiers who fought valiantly, and I commend him for putting this up, and he put it up on Veterans Day, November 11th, 2014. Next. He's also participated in Wreaths Across America.
Wonderful.
And what that usually is that you pay respect to our war dead, and he did a great job doing that. Next page. And this is December 15th, another year that he did the Wreaths Across America. Let's go to the next page. In September 26, 2016, on his social media page, you can see the monument that he placed, the flags, and if you can see between the trees, there's a one-way street sign, and that area would be the original marker where it was placed, where that car is on the left, somewhere in that little corner there. Go to the next page. So on that date, he posted, "Thank you for visiting our Facebook page and sharing your opinions. We embrace and honor the historical nature of the surroundings and provide visitors a renewed perspective of the meaning of the American Revolution. The village serves as a dynamic, interactive learning experience and offers an exceptionally compelling experience to complement other attractions in the area. The plan restores and beautifies the gateway to historic Fishkill and Dutchess County by adding a visitor center, historic trail, replica structures of the original depot, and preserving the Revolutionary War burial area recently discovered on the grounds. The trail will wind through the property with artifacts, informative plaques making the journey." He did a real good job. He should be commended for keeping his preservation. His preservation efforts were astounding.
Yes.
Next one. So there has been some conflict of where actually the cemetery was. Some people have suggested that it was at the Roundabout Rural Cemetery. The Roundabout Rural Cemetery had a church built prior to the Revolution, probably around 1747. They rebuilt it in the 1840s and it burnt down in the 1860s at some time. So that was a church. It's no longer there, and there's a little field in back of it. So the Roundabout Rural Cemetery put out two comments about their opinion on that. There is history documented, diaries, etc., about the use of the Presbyterian church that once stood in the middle of the Roundabout Rural Cemetery, and the encampments that surround the building during the Revolutionary War. Regarding any mass soldier cemetery, the facts are: A, ground penetrating radar, GPR, study was performed some years ago, paid for by an anonymous donor. Though some anomalies were found as a result, there was no definite proof of any mass grave, soldier, or otherwise. To date, there has been no archaeological or anthropological investigations performed. Therefore, there is no empirical evidence, data proving such claim. We at the Roundabout Rural Cemetery would much appreciate that this opinion not be perpetuated further.
So, Supervisor, the Roundabout Rural Cemetery administrators themselves are debunking the assertion that there was ever a Revolutionary War burial ground located there?
Yes, and the confusion may be that there was a church at one time that burned down as a vacant lot, but there is more land in the back. But this is a cemetery that takes pretty good recall.
We've held municipal events there. We had the Lafayette Monument event a few years ago. It's a cemetery that's very proud of its history.
Yes, it's a very well-organized record, and I'm sure that Mr. Brickerhoff, who lived in the house, would mark it down as a Revolutionary burial site. Let's go to the next page. They affirm that. Again, they say another comment, there was history documented about the use, and they go again regarding any mass soldier cemetery. Their facts are: a ground penetrating radar study was performed some years ago, paid for by the donor, and they go through the same thing.
Yeah.
Go to the next page. All right, so this is what I'm going to propose. Let me just go through my notes here real quick so I don't miss anything. So this is the intersection of Route 9 and Van Wyck Lake Road. If you go through the Dutchess County Parcel Access website. You can get an aerial view to about 1936. And there's about 5 or 6 maps that they do within the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, all the way up to today. And you can see the perimeter of the corner of this spot, Van Wyck Lake Road and Route 9, has remained effectually the same. Those 2 lanes that you see on the left, one was northbound and one was southbound, and then there's another 4 or 6 lanes that go to the west. The yellow line represents the easement of New York State, so New York State owns the land, the right-of-way, where that yellow line is.
So everything between the yellow line and the road surface is subject to the New York State access easement?
Correct. So now, if you look closely, you can see a square rectangle, square
indentation.
And if you follow that with the 1971 aerial, that's the location where the monument was. And this tells you that they did not move it and widen Route 9 to the east, disturbing the burial ground. This is extremely good news because they did not disturb our war dead. So what I'm looking to propose to do is that the town board at the next meeting, if I'd like to get your support, I'd like to affirm, and these are all with town board resolutions, I'd like to affirm the 1897 Fishkill Town Board resolution with a new resolution saying they were correct in
Memorializing that?
Memorializing it. Allow me to work with New York State DOT to erect a new sign honoring the placement of the 1897 monument and direct the town highway superintendent to create that sign. Allow the supervisor to work with DAR to get a new sign. So what DAR does today is they got something similar to the Pomeroy sign, but it's all in brass, and it's a much more simple and much more efficient. And I would also like to have permission to talk to the Pomeroy Foundation to get one of those New York State type of plaques. And then I'd like to rededicate the sign on October 14th, 2025 at 2:30 p.m. when they did it in 1897. So this would be the 3rd dedication, the first one October 14th in 1897, and I believe they did another one when they moved it to the Van Wyck house on October 14th in 1979, and I'd like to do the 3rd one October 14th, 2025 at 2:30 when they dedicated it the first time in 1897. So that's what I would like to do. Hopefully I can get the support of the town board.
Ozzy, can you put this presentation deck on the website?
I have not done it yet.
Well, can you
Yes.
have that done so citizens and I can take a look
Correct,
at it?
yes.
Because there's a lot of stuff I'd like to read.
Yeah,
It's very interesting, and I think people would like to read it too.
Okay,
Yeah.
You know?
we could do that.
Yeah.
And we
The thing which I'm
Would you like to
struck
share me
by-
that? Would you like me to share that with the eGov system? Let the residents get a partake on this? It's
I
up to
think
you
you
guys.
should.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's a good idea.
Don't forget, you already put the whole scrapbook.
Yes, the scrapbook.
Website already, I read it.
Yes. What was your opinion on the scrapbook?
It was amazing, so detailed, there was so much great information. What
On-
they did, it was wonderful.
That's on our
The
website?
thing that always
It's on our
strikes me,
website.
Okay, I missed that.
The DAR's.
Oh, okay.
the thing that strikes me when looking back at the historical record, because when you think about things that are more apocryphal, things that are harder to prove definitively, there tends to be a lot of disagreement. There tends to be a lot of speculation. The historical record from credible sources on this, the historical authors going back 150 years even, going back 20 years prior to when the monument was installed, are unanimous about where this was located. There has not at any time really been a question as to where it's been located. And I think it would be a very important part of America 250 in Fishkill for us to memorialize that 1897 resolution and the ceremony that dedicated, that area. Obviously, we want to respect the property owner's rights. I think it's a very good thing to do in the New York State right-of-way,
Yes.
because we have to balance, of course, the public interest versus the property owner's, property
Correct.
and private access there. But to do so, that map just lays it out perfectly. I mean, the original site is miraculously almost undisturbed and within a New York State easement. I think it's a wonderful idea to move forward with. I think the historical evidence is very clear that that is where a remarkable asset to American history is. I think we owe a great tip of the cap to the property owner for
Yes.
the preservation efforts that have kept that area of the property from being developed, and that historical asset to our nation. It's not just a question of pride for Fishkill. The United States of America owes a great debt at that site, and it should be commemorated, and I will support this measure.
And we have this in our backyard. We are blessed with so much history. It's just amazing. When you keep going through the historical record, you keep leading on to another path, and you just don't stop, and it gets addictive. But yes, I'd like to focus on this. I will place this on the next eGov with a scrapbook and get public comment on it. But I would like to get those on the resolutions for the next meeting. If there's something anybody would like to add for a resolution, please let me know.
Yeah, I would
Councilwoman?
like to say, you know, this was very well researched. I know, Becky, you looked back at the historical resolution, you know, thank you for that.
That's amazing.
Back in a time when every resolution was handwritten.
I really want to read that resolution.
Every resolution was handwritten, and in typical government fashion, completely illegible.
Yes, ours.
IT it's perfectly legible.
Yeah, I just want to say, you know, I'd like to hear what everybody else, of course, has to say about this, and everybody should really look through this, and you will see what I think I see is there is a consistency about data, about locations, and I think it's pretty clear that site is special, and we should memorialize it. And the other thing I was thinking is that you know how we have like the flags at Nimham's statue, and I just think this would be a great place to also, you know, place a flag, one of the Betsy Ross flags that we use at the different sites in town. And
that might be something to bring up when we authorize the supervisor to work with DOT.
Well, when I work on the resolution, the DOT is not a big deal. The chief Nimham statute, you fill out one piece of paper, it's an insurance thing.
Right.
Not a big deal. We already did everybody knows about the chief Nimham statute.
right, and the lights and
You want
and
lights
all that
too?
stuff.
We could do like we do the battery.
The
We have a battery that defended the Highlands. During the Revolutionary War, the British attempted to break the northern part to the southern part and take over by breaking us up in the Hudson River. And that's why we had West Point.
That's why we had the Fishkill Supply Depot.
And the supply depot fed them. And if you look on Route 9, our former town historian, Paul Grabkowski, redid the monuments. The property owner there, Gratis, did a granite wall. The town put up a Betsy Ross flag with a light. And when you look at it today, you see 2 lanes of highways. Back then, it was probably no bigger than 4 feet to cross there. So even if thousands of British troops came through there, they would not get past our regiments, which consisted of 2,000-3,000 men. So they protected our supplies very well. And there's a ton more history which we'll discuss during the 250th.
And there's another property owner who did what was the right thing when it came to that American Revolution.
Yes.
Protection. A big tip of the cap to Luke Clementi from Century Aggregate.
Yes,
for the work that they did there.
he cleaned up the site. He used the granite from his mine, and he made a very nice spot. It stinks that the speed limit's 55, people doing 65, and you really can't enjoy it, but it's there, and the town of Fishkill has restored the plaques. We got a Betsy Ross flag with a light on it. We got the Chief Nimham statue with a light on it with the flag, and I think Jackie's idea about putting a flag there too would be pretty cool. So I'll include that in my resolution. John?
First of all, congratulations. I know probably a long time and a lot of research. Has it been decided what wording is going to be on the plaque? And does the New York State DOT have to approve what we want to put on the plaque?
No, they don't have to approve what's on the plaque. Well, I really don't know. All they know is when I did the Chief Nimham statue, what are you putting there? And they're more worried about liability, and they want the insurance. I don't know how much insurance this would cost. I don't think after, I'm going to save this and I'll give the link to them. But the sign, I believe, should be very simple. In 1897, I'd like to do something like a 4x8 sign sideways, half of it showing the original marker where it was placed in 1897. It was moved due to road construction to protect it from damage. And this year, on October 14th, 2025, the town wishes to recognize that the stone was here for X amount of years. Simple, nothing Nothing kind of controversial.
Yeah, and to be clear, what this rededication would be is not of the property, but of the marker.
Yes.
That was there. We are commemorating the fact that the marker, which has since been relocated for its own protection, once stood here. We're simply indicating this is where it used to be.
Yes.
So that people who have that interest in what that monument meant and what it indicated in the first place will be able to put that into context of where it was originally located.
No, well said. And when they moved it to the Van Wyck House, they turned it around. And if you're coming eastbound on 84 and you're going toward McDonald's, that is the site where if you read if you were a stranger who came to the town of Fishkill and you read that monument, you would be like, why would they put a off-ramp on a burial ground? It doesn't make any sense.
And the answer is because they didn't. That just ended up being the direction it faced.
Yes.
When they moved it.
Yes, but this is why there's some confusion, et cetera, et cetera. And like Councilman Tatino said, this is just recognizing where the monument was, nothing else.
I think it's a good idea, and I commend you for your research too. It's very
Thank you.
fascinating. And I have to say, I like this Robert guy that's our historian.
Yeah,
Because
this guy's all right.
He's
All right.
educated me, and I've read one booklet because it's thin and easy. And I'm going to.
Pictures in it for you?
There are pictures. I'm going to be tackling this, and I look forward to really educating myself more about this town because it's just amazing. The birth, you talk about the birth of a nation, that's a movie, of course, but so much of the, I know that, maybe the wrong
Bad
reference.
example, very bad example.
Maybe we'll back away from that one.
Yeah, you should.
Pretend I didn't say that. I have to get Pete to erase that videotape. I mean, how many times was George Washington here? And we know about the Bailey Sword, and we know, because you and I have been in Simpatico on doing things for the 250th for
So
2 years.
Explain to the residents what our first salvo is with the Bailey sword. Update the residents.
Well, I mean, it's being molded now. I don't know if that's the correct terminology.
That is.
Casting.
Would that be the terminology?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
it's
So-
the molding and then,
And then the casting.
And then the casting comes
And the
afterwards.
casting. And so a couple of years ago, just real quick, we started doing meetings, and I was trying to organize, and get people together, and Greg Tatino was there, and Greg gave a lot of the direction for the...
I doodled and I handed it to Michael Karopian, who is an actual artist.
Yeah.
And he said, that's cool. And then he did a sketch and everyone loved it.
Yeah, he came back with a sketch, and we're happy with that. So, and it's taken a long time to get to the point where it is. The good news is we're going to have this paid for, not by tax dollars. The good news also is where it's going to go in between the rec center and the police station, that Memorial Park area. I'll be finding out in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, if we get the funding to completely re-landscape that area because it's hidden. And so that Bailey sword, Bailey came from England, and he was a cutler, and he came to New York City, and basically, I guess, got chased out because of the war, and he came up through the Hudson Valley and landed and had a farm right here. There's a section of Fishkill called Forge Brook, and it's that creek where he, of course, forged swords, and a guy named George Washington just loved his work, and basically had about 6 of them. Did he have 6 of them done? But the main, I'm getting to it, Robert. So. Basically, the sword that is very, very famous, and what we're honoring at part of the 250th, is the sword that you see General Washington wearing in the famous painting of him crossing the Delaware. And that sword is actually in the Smithsonian. So it's a major piece of history. A lot of statues of George and this and that. We're doing something that's very unique, but it's because it was made here in Fishkill, and it's so appropriate, and we're very excited. We're very excited about that.
Yes.
On a related note, just related to Bailey, and this is where the nerddom comes out, and please bear with me. For those who do have a general interest in seeing a Bailey sword, but do not have the means, motivation, or time to go to Washington to see it in the Smithsonian, there happens to be a sister sword in the in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in Manhattan.
I forgot about
I was there a few years ago on a trip with my girlfriend, and there it was in the massive weaponry collection that they have there. And it is, I believe in sword-making terms, it is a similar conceit is the term that they have for it, if they are basically designed the same. Although a few of the minor details are different. The handle is white instead of green, for instance. But it is, as soon as I saw it, I said, wow, that looks like Washington's sword. And then I looked at the little information card, and sure enough, Jay Bailey. Wow, how about that? So there is a cousin of the Washington sword, or a sister of the sword in the Met.
Stepbrother, maybe.
Any other question, board members? Anything else? All right, so we'll consider this a discussion item already discussed.
Yes, yes, for discussion item 1, let's do that.
I don't. Good job.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Good job. Thank you.
All right, number 2 is discussion of the property maintenance law regarding Van Wyck Lake Road. Mr. Gabba's got the letter going to the property owner. If this is not resolved by July, we're going to take action to get those cars out of there. Number 2, also intersection of Route 5282, that self-storage. The only thing remaining on that is the performance bond. We have an issue where they're using a Florida bank, and we're not sure about the procedure where if something happened, we can, remit the claim to get the money. So,
Did they come by, Becky, and pay their back taxes like they
Yes,
said they would do?
that hasn't come up.
I'm not the tax receiver, but no, they did not.
They did not? Okay.
Not
So they haven't paid that yet.
I think that Catherine would have said, oh my God, they actually came in and paid, but she has not said that. And even with her being out and working from home, they have not come in and gave me any money. And I've been doing all the mail and all the, there's no tax money.
So what are we gonna do?
We can collect from the county, so it's really our concern or not.
Oh.
I want to get this site cleaned up. I want to delay it, so.
Whatever you want to do.
Your point is well taken. Okay, so that's the 2 updates on those. Can you please put?
Chair?
Yep.
I don't want to interrupt, but with regard to number 3, that's what you were doing, correct?
Yes.
So that one would be a continued hearing, so it would be advised that you do declare the hearing open, ensure that nobody is here to speak, and then get a motion to adjourn the hearing until the July meeting.
Okay, I'd like to go on to number 3. So Cooper, put number 2 for the July meeting. Okay. And then number 3, make a motion to open up the hearing. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody wish to speak about this? Make a motion to close the hearing and table it.
Adjourn the hearing.
Adjourn the hearing until the July meeting. Can I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
So Cooper, just push both to July.
Thank you.
I got you, Becky, yeah.
Good catch.
Thank you. Number 4, discussion of waiving all fees for vendors attending the National Night Out. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Number 5, discussion of resolution to hire additional summer staff. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Next up is resolution, the budget modification justice court grant. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Next up, discussion of budget modification of the 2025 highway townwide DB adopted budget for insurance recovery. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Number 8, discussion of resolution to accept monetary donation for the police department. Everybody okay with
I
that?
thought that was
Always.
very nice. That was great.
Okay. Now, next up is privilege of the floor, only agenda items. Anything that's on the agenda that we discussed, you can speak about. You can come speak.
I'll be quick. So, again, Rob Buchari, the town historian, thank you for all your research, but I wanted to really try to explain how special this place is. And regardless if you're arguing about the extent of the cemetery, do you guys know how many dedicated Revolutionary War cemeteries exist?
Well, there is one in Brooklyn that's bigger, but I don't think any bigger.
There's nothing at Valley Forge within the park grounds. You got to think about that. There aren't many of these anywhere in the country. That's how special this place is. And not just that, the Fishkill Supply Depot itself, not just the cemetery, the Fishkill Supply Depot kept the war going in the Northeast. So I see the energy that this has created. This is what history is all about. We got to get the word out to the community, and we have to educate them how special this place is. and I think you guys are doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hi, good evening. Keith Riley, Friends of the Fishkill Supply Depot. And I also want to provide a little historical context, not to bring down the vibe that we're having here, but there is going to be some issues with this monument going forward, and in part of what I witnessed just on May 24th. So the developer of Continental Commons held a groundbreaking ceremony on
I think
Memorial.
why don't we talk about something positive today?
But it is important. I know that, I think there is a positive. I'm going to, if you just let me kind of develop it, because.
Let him cook.
Exactly, thank you. So in attendance was Councilman Foreman, I assume as an invited guest, not by the developer, since he didn't mention it in his official report. The Friends of the Fishkill Supply Depot was alongside the public roadside for a public protest against the disruption of the last 10 acres of undeveloped land, including the gravesite. I was dressed as a Continental soldier representing the 5th New York Regiment. Soldiers from the 5th are listed as died in Fishkill and may in fact be buried in the cemetery. And then here's the hard part for me. Upon arrival, the developer went out of his way to greet me by saying, quote, "I was wearing pajamas and to go home." I'm not sure if Councilman Foreman heard that remark. There was a Bobcat machine that was clearing brush. It was really loud. But it was an insulting remark that was heard by others, insulting to the Continental Army uniform. And it was also recorded. There was a recording, people videotaping it. After the groundbreaking ceremony, again, the developer once again engaged with me. This time he stated that his property did not contain the graves of the Continental soldiers, but rather the graves of the Van Wyck family. The developer also said that the Hunter report was a hoax. So upon hearing this proposal for the return of the DAR monument, I am very excited, but I also am somewhat concerned. My concern is that the public might be misled to think that the developer also shares this belief that the Continental soldiers are buried there. My concern is that the developer is putting profit over patriotism. So again, on September 24th, the developer made his feelings known. My concern is if he plans to construct his mini mall and call it Continental Commons, it may lead to him profiting from the hollow ground of American soldiers. Again, I'm not sure why the developer changed his mind. You went over how he seemed to be supportive and had this vision, but since 2017, he's had a change of heart. So I think we should take this positive momentum and also reach out to the developer and see if we can get him back on board, because there, as Mr. Bukhari said, there is an opportunity here for us to do the right thing, for the developer to be on the right side of history. So it's not only the board, but I'm also offering a challenge to the citizens of Fishkill, to the people of the United States. We have an opportunity this October to come out and really have a show of unity that we desperately need. I'm assuming that the developer made that insult to me, and that's fine, he can insult me. I'm not that thin-skinned, but it comes across as insulting to the uniform that I've tried to portray as an educator, trying to educate people about this. So I think we can come together. And I think that this could be a great story locally, nationally, that right here we've come together and learned how to accept, learned how to forgive, learned how to be curious, and we have this opportunity to really go into the 250th focused on what really matters to the formation of the country and to those soldiers who sacrificed, the ultimate sacrifice of giving their lives in pursuit of independence. So thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, sir. Miss?
Practice. Okay. I might have to run out. So is this the good place to talk?
Sure, you can
about
ask.
this,
You're the lady who lives on Tompkins Avenue?
Yes. So I live on Tompkins Avenue. Hi. Oh, yeah, sure. Kim Boldrini Sen.
What was your name?
Kim Boldrini Sen.
We'll see you afterwards to get the spell.
Sure, that's fine. I'll spell it after. So I recently just moved from Beacon to 5 minutes away in Glenham and bought a house on Tompkins Avenue. It's wonderful. I love it. I was told by my neighbors that it would be very tricky to get mail. There's this whole issue with, yes, you know, okay, Tompkins Avenue, Glenham, Tompkins Avenue, and Beacon. So Glenham doesn't really exist on paper in a lot of places, so it's very hard. We have a post office box, which is fair, That's paid for. But getting deliveries is very difficult, so I can't get stuff delivered to my house. I've tried, FedEx people have said to put it as Fishkill, it doesn't work. Beacon doesn't really work either. All the inspectors, contractors, friends of mine have gone to the other lady's house. The other lady, her name is Miss Boyd, I was hoping she would be here and kind of share this story herself. Can I hold on and just get my son?
Well,
Do you guys mind holding?
Just real quick, so
Yeah.
there was 13 residents there.
Yeah.
That lived there. I walked and I gave letters to everybody concerning this. So far it's 2 to 2.
2 and 2, okay.
Until I
Can-
get 7, then I'm not gonna move on it. So
Okay.
7 yeses.
7 yeses, yes.
If it
Can I
gets 6
share more information about it in
Of
just
course.
1 second? That I think is important, but I just
Okay.
don't want to leave.
Go on.
But this section is for agenda items.
I was told this was on the agenda.
It's okay. Go on and come back.
Give me
All right?
1 second.
All right. It's okay. Next up is, we'll go back to her.
Yeah.
Next up is consent agenda. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next resolution, the property maintenance, we're gonna have to table that to the next meeting, Coop.
Okay.
All right. Let's do items for special consideration. So we got 4 from Corinne. 3 of them are just balancing, and the other one is for the ban, where they were, with the ban, they were only, it's all budgeted, but they were paying less than they were supposed to pay. Is that simple enough?
Sure.
So instead of paying 25%, they were paying 20%, and we got to get it back up to the 5-year capital, the 5-year ban that we did with the trucks and the wreck roof.
Okay.
All right, so the money's there, but they were paying a little less than they were, we just bring it back up to par. So that'll
When
be.
you say they, do you mean we? The
Yes,
town?
the controller's office, the finance office. So there's no money or anything like that. Well, like I said, they were paying 2 less, and it's budgeted. So that is that's the first one. So let me read that resolution.
The budget modification regarding bonds?
Yeah, where the heck is that one at?
18.
Here, right here.
So we got it? All right, give me that one.
10,018.
10,018, okay. 10,018, all right. Subject resolution adopting budget modification regarding bonds, ID number 10018, whereas the town is obligated by general municipal law to maintain a balanced budget in the government fines and property funds, and whereas the controller has requested a budget modification to the additional funding which is required to cover the July 2025 band payment, and we only got 2 years left on this one. Whereas the controller has recommended the budget modification, increase expenditures line, Adam 97305.600, recreation bond anticipation notes expenditure by $27,200, Adam 97305.600, parks bond anticipation note expenditure $2,240, David Adam 97305.600, highway townwide bond anticipating notes expenditure by $30,160. David Boy, 97305.600, highway outside village bond anticipation note, expenditures by $8,400. And William, 197305.600, roundabout water district bond anticipation notes expenditure by $14,000. And whereas the town board has considered the proposed budget modification as submitted to the controller and deems it in the best interest of the town to make this budget fund modification, now therefore resolve the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby amends the 2025 general fund adopted budget as stated wherein. Presented as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, what's up next? Now, these other 3 are these are closing out things. So I got ID number 122. What's that? 2020?
Or
20,
120.
22, and 24.
120. Okay,
Can you
let's
do them as a
that one.
group?
All right.
1,020.
All right, next up is subject resolution for budget modification, Brickerhoff Water District by capital plan, Brickerhoff Storage. So basically what happened was there was a prior plan to do some storage tanks in the Brickerhoff Water Districts to remediate the health department. This was a $5.6 million plan that was presented maybe 6 years ago. The town went in a different direction, and we're closing that one out. Whereas the town is obligated by general municipal law to maintain a balanced budget, whereas the controller has recommended budget modification to clear amounts due to Brickerhoff Water District by capital project Brickerhoff storage tank. The recommendation is to increase the expenditure line William David 99015.0901 Brickerhoff expenditure interfund transfer by $23,800. $872.25, and increase revenue line HB SAM 12204.5031, capital project Brick-off storage tank, $23,872.25, and whereas the town board has considered the proposed budget modification and submitted to the controller and deems in the best interest of the town of Fishkill to make this modification, now therefore be it resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby amends the 2025 Brick-off Water District Fund to adopt the balance as stated within. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next one will be 20. John, 22.
John.
22's next? Okay. Resolution budget modification to clear amounts due to highway capital project salt shed. That was completed about 3 years ago. ID number 122, whereas the town is obligated by general municipal law to maintain a balanced budget in the government funds and priority funds, and whereas the controller has recommended budget modification to clear the amounts due to highway by capital project salt shed, the recommendation is to increase the expenditure line David Adam 99015.0901 highway townwide interfund transfer by $32,716.97 and decrease the revenue line H. Henry Sam 12204.5031 capital project salt shed by the same amount. And whereas the town board has considered the proposed budget modification and submitted to control and deems it to be best interest in the town to make this modification, now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town Fishkill hereby amends the 2025 highway fund adopted budget as stated herein. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Brian, all in favor?
Aye.
And this is the last one, 24?
Yep.
Okay, so this will be the last one. Resolution of budget modification clear amounts due to Snook Merit Water District, ID number 10024, whereas the town is obligated by general municipal law to maintain a balanced budget, whereas the controller has recommended a budget modification and clear the amounts due to the highway by capital project salt shed. The recommendation increase the expenditure line David Adam 99015.0901 highway townwide interfund transfer by $32,716.97 and increase the revenue line Henry Sam 12204.5031 by the same amount. Whereas the town board has considered the proposed budget modification submitted by the control and deems in the best interest of the town to make this budget modification. Now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby amends the 2025 highway fund adopted budget as stated herein. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
John, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
You know, Supervisor, whenever it is that you decide that you don't wish to be town supervisor anymore, I think your performance reading these resolutions tonight does qualify you to be a tobacco auctioneer.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for the, thank you for
That
the,
was speed reading at its
thank you for the
finest.
compliment, ma'am.
That was incredible.
So, thank you again, guys. This is, I guess it's just for the comment to have the name change from Tompkins Avenue to Tompkins Lane, as Ozzy and I have spoken about. So there's a problem with several things. Mail is one thing. It's not the biggest thing, but it is a daily issue. The woman who lives on 25 Tompkins in Beacon, when they were sending up my utilities, they actually cut hers off. So it ended up being several $100s extra that she has to pay every single year now because of this issue. It was utilities. It was Optimum, I believe. They cut it off. They had called me to verify my name and address. They said, we have someone else with the same address. And I said, no, that is someone else. So they had someone on the phone with me, and they said, are you Miss Boyd? I said, no, that's the other person. They were going to call her and verify that she had another account with them. They did not call her. She was in the middle of a workday. They cut off her utilities. They refused to put it on. They said she had to pay $360 to return the router. Or she would get charged if she didn't return the router, but she did not get her utilities turned on for several days. My internet still took another month to get fixed. They refused to put her internet back on. She was in the middle of the workday. She lost her work that day, and then for the next couple of days, she had to go into White Plains. But because of that error, now it's costing her several $100s extra a year, which is really not fair. I feel really horrible. But in addition to that, so my real estate agent said that my home, she like tracks the value of homes. Mine is connected to hers. It's not tracking for like my own house. It doesn't even show that I actually bought that house yet, which was purchased February 24th. When I signed the mortgage, I said there's a Glenham address, a Fishkill address, a Beacon address. Where do I live? They kind of all laughed. No one really knew. There's other issues, with safety. I'm a single mom. I have a young son who's 10. I have a cell phone. The woman in the house who lived there before me died by herself there. Every single person I've asked to come to my house, I've included Google Maps. They still go to the wrong people's house. I'm very nervous, and that is what the letter that Ozzy had sent out to all the residents. If there is an issue with 911 being needed to call, my child is very smart, but an adult cannot figure out where to go, including having a link on a Google map. I'm very nervous if, God forbid, something were to happen to me and I am out and unconscious, accidents do happen at home, that he would not be able to figure out how to explain to a 911 representative that, no, we're not in Beacon, we're in Glenham, no, it's off of Route 52. He doesn't know everything. If an adult cannot follow a Google map, I don't know that a child can explain to a 911 operator that this is actually where the emergency is. There is another single mom 2 houses down. There's a lot of kids. There's a 1-year-old, a 1 and 4-year-old, there's a 5 and 7-year-old, there's a 6-year-old, and everyone has talked like, what if there's an emergency? Run to the neighbor's house. But what if the neighbors aren't there? Because we're trying to create our own little community system of an emergency backup system, because we don't believe that 911 is going to, bless you, be able to get to our address, because no one knows where we live. If I put, even my retirement account, I cannot put my Glenham address. It does not exist in the system. So my retirement accounts are not correct. And also, just so you know, financial advisors cost like 1% to 2%. You can do your own low index funds if needed. That's a side note. But financial records have to be listed to an address, cannot be a P.O. box. So I have it listed to my mom's address. That's illegal pretty much, because it has to be your own person. I have one listed to my office because it is an SCP. So
can I just ask?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, there's an issue. You're aware of this?
Yeah, I basically, there's 13 homes on Tompkins Avenue.
We discussed this 2 weeks ago.
We discussed it. I hand-delivered to all the residents. The bottom line is not everybody wants it. Right now, it's 2 to 2. And unless I get 7 yeses.
So you got to do some.
Are you one of the 2?
Tracking.
I don't think so.
I'm one of the 2. I think I know the
Which
other
2?
2. The other issue.
Which 2 are you?
I'm the positive. No, what do you mean? No, I'm trying to get this changed.
Okay, that's what I
does that now
thought.
make
Yeah,
it
yeah,
3
yeah,
to
yeah.
2, or is
No.
she one of the 2 that
You
already?
sent me an email, right?
I sent you an email.
So it's 2 to 2, including her.
So it's up to, it sounds like people got to get on board with this. There's nothing we can do until that happens, right?
Yeah, that's right. I know that.
As a town board, we can change things, but we're
We
going
want to
to.
be nice. We want to play.
Yeah, and that's what I think it's great if we have all the residents, involved. I know on the paper it said that the meeting was yesterday. There was a mix-up with the date, so I try to tell the people I knew, just so you know, come to the meeting. Send in your comments. I don't know who did or not. There are residents that get their mail delivered to another resident down the street's house. So on on Tompkins Avenue in Beacon, it's not every house, so I'm at 25, so that maybe 20, there might not be a 27 Beacon, yes.
So your mailing address, like Ozzy, is Beacon, New York, correct?
No, it's Glenham.
Well, so there's issues in Glenham. They have a
I
post
thought
office.
Glenham only had a P.O. box.
P.O.
Yes.
box, so she's entitled to a P.O. box.
I have a P.O. box.
But if I were to send you a letter, would it go to your street address?
No.
It would go to her.
It
P.O.
goes
box.
to the P.O. box. However, what I was told from the post, trust me, this is weeks of my life, hours and hours. So let's say if it's a package. So my son's birthday was in March. My aunt wanted to send something. She said, where do I send it? I said, you can't send it to the house. I said, if it's a letter, you could send it to a P.O. box. If it's a package, you have to address it to the post office itself. However, there was an issue with UPS not having a contract with USPS. So if someone wanted to buy something from Amazon, it would not get delivered to the post office. And it gets shipped back to sender, address unknown.
So what are we doing here? I
We're
mean,
still
I get
kinda taking
it. There's
a
an
poll.
issue.
There's a huge, it's a
I mean,
huge issue.
I get it, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Big problem.
Yeah, go on. So basically, we got to get 7.
Okay.
That's the bottom
Is it
line.
okay for me, I just came here to give comments, kind of like it said. Is it okay for me to like write a note and put it on the residents? Like
absolutely.
doorstep or
Interact with
something?
your neighbors as you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
And,
I think,
encourage them to
educating
participate,
them.
and if they're in favor, encourage them to say so.
Yeah.
And you gotta remember, some people might like it that no one knows where they live.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm one of those because I am legally entitled, well, I should have a confidential address. So I also have a question about that because of.
You're advertising it on video right now.
Which is great, yeah.
I'm just letting you know.
Hopefully, yes. Hopefully this
All right.
bypasses.
But we need 7. I'm not gonna move unless we have 7 yeses.
Okay, that's fine. So I'll just kind of reach out.
If you
to
get me
them.
7, we'll get the ball rolling.
Okay. And then I spoke to the post office as well, and she said, well, if you're on Tompkins Avenue, you have a free post office, but if it gets changed to Tompkins Lane, that might be an issue.
Well, that's the thing. Once I know 7 people want me to do something, want the board to
Then
do
we'll
something.
go forward.
We'll do Tompkins Lane or Avenue,
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
But there might be other things that we could do too.
Got it.
There is a
Okay.
possibility.
Okay. That's
Okay?
great.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate
Thank you,
your
buddy.
work. And also, Ozzy, I think.
Soccer
you-
player? All right.
How'd you do today? Yeah?
Did you do all right? Good.
Yeah,
So
a
welcome to
2-hour
Fishkill.
practice.
When you grow up, one day you could sit here.
Yep.
This is pretty cool.
Some days we'd like for you to sit there now.
Yes. Yes.
And you guys really should bring this information about all of the history into the school. 'Cause I didn't.
We
I
we
grew up
we
here,
are
I
going
didn't
to,
know any of that.
with our 250th anniversary, you sign on to our emails, did you do that yet? So you gotta.
Maybe not, okay.
Go to the town website, sign on to our email system, and we're gonna, like we said today, we're gonna share with the residents what happened tonight. We're gonna do a passport. The kids, the children can go around and see all the historical stuff. They complete the passport, they're gonna get a town pin that they can wear.
That's
We might do
beautiful.
a ceremony at Dutchess Stadium with a firework display, so we plan on putting this into gear.
That would be
But you
great.
gotta sign on to the
Plus-
emails to know this
Okay.
stuff.
Plus the dedication of the Bailey Sword.
Yes.
We're going to have a ceremony out there.
I
It'll be
think
great.
that's beautiful.
Have you seen the Chief Nimem statue?
No,
Take 52, keep going straight,
yeah,
show him that.
okay,
It's in your town.
okay.
All right, ma'am? Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Get home safe, everyone.
Thank you.
You too.
See you later, my little man. So, items of special consideration. Jackie, you got anything? I'm sorry, new and old business. Jackie.
Nothing, no.
Greg.
No.
John.
No.
Brian.
No, it's just we're going to pass through Juneteenth here in June, so please recognize that very, very special day in our history.
Thank you. So I'm sorry I didn't mention a couple things. When the town of police got a $250 donation from Red Newt Racing to be utilized by the Town of Fishkill Police Department. So the town board thanks Red Newt Racing to making the $250 donation. We appreciate it. I got a letter. We passed a resolution a while back about the Underground Railroad Byway, Town of Fishkill. I got a response from the Department of Transportation. Thank you for your correspondence. A resolution to the New York State Department of Transportation dated February 21st to express your full support for the Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad Byway. Your request has been forwarded to the New York State Scenic Byways Committee. So they have that. They got that resolution.
Yeah.
And then we had a little issue with a cop car and a private vehicle. There was a tow issue with a billing. And Mr. Pistolisi, who runs one of the tow companies, Alto, was generous to the town because due to some insurance questions, we could have been liable for about $10,000 in taxpayer dollars to pay some storage fees. He decided to waive those fees, and his act of kindness reflects the profound compliment to our community and exemplifies the values that we hold. So I thank you to Mr.
Pistolisi?
Yeah, Mr. Alto, I was going to call him, Mr. Alto. Ronaldo, that's it. Thank you, Ronaldo, we appreciate it. Next town board meeting is when, Cooper?
July 2nd.
July 2nd. Thank you all for watching. I make a motion to adjourn. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night. I want to speak to you for a minute.